Hello and thank you for finding time to join us on Health Nuggets. Today our focus is on breastfeeding. This past week the world marked Breastfeeding Week, and breastfeeding is very important to the nutrition of the baby as well as that of the mother. The World Health Organization recommends exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life, followed by continued breastfeeding with appropriate complementary foods. The Constitution of Kenya stipulates that every child has the right to basic nutrition and health care of the highest attainable standards.
Like that, as she's doing this, she can think about her baby. She can look at her baby.
Touch the upper lip with the nipple, and the baby will open the mouth. And when the baby has opened the mouth, I'll push the breast very fast and pull the baby towards me.
Push back towards the chest wall, press the thumb and fingers together, and then release.
And I think that will bring me to this question. You just mentioned something of the milk, the milk that comes first, then the other milk. There's the issue of how long should a child breastfeed or suck one breast before you change them to the other. Yeah.
Usually you find for most of the mothers, they might just breastfeed one breast. But a mother will be able to tell when the other breast when the baby has breastfed enough. If you are doing the correct, if you don't have engorged breast because of poor breastfeeding technique. So the mother will be able to tell that the breastfeeding child is not is breastfeeding well. You'll tell the child is full, the child will just release the breast or will just sleep. Yeah. But if you have to go to the next breast, then you switch to the next breast, and when you start breastfeeding the next time, you will start with the breast which you did not exhaust. Yeah. And the same case, even when you express drain almost completely, drain completely before you go to the next one. Yeah.
And from Edith's conversation, we also saw the benefits that breastfeeding has to the mother and child. What would you say is so special about breast milk? What are the components of breast milk?
Yeah. Breast milk is very special. It has everything. It's enough for the baby. Up to 6 months of age, you don't have to do anything. So it contains, which Edith has already mentioned, it contains even substances which prevent infections. They prevent germs from attaching to the baby, and also prevents a baby from getting diseases. So it actually reduces the risk of the pneumonia by 30%. It reduces the risk of the baby getting diarrhea by 50%. And so during this time of COVID, we do not want sick babies to come to the hospital. And that's why we are here, so that mothers can have babies, so that when they come to the clinics, it's just for me just to say hi to us. Yeah. So that's for infections. It also, breast milk contains also proteins, and these proteins are very special. They are different from the proteins which are in formula and in cow milk. Actually, formula is just cow milk, and then you remove some of the things which are in excess. So the breast milk, the protein it has is special. They are special. They do not cause allergy. What we have in cow milk causes allergy. So the treatment even for these conditions you are seeing is that just breastfeed only. Yeah, but of course now if you have given other things and there is allergy, then one is treatment. But what you're seeing, that can be prevented. The other thing is it also contains carbohydrates, and these carbohydrates are very special in that they, as Edith mentioned, they help in also preventing diseases, and it also contains fats. It contains fats, and the fats we have here are very special. They are not the ones which you'll find in cow milk or formula milk. They are very special because, as Edith mentioned, they help in the brain development. A child, as she mentioned, a child who has been breastfed well actually has got a higher IQ by 3.5%. Yeah, and it also improves those fats also help in the eye development, so they see better. Yeah. And then it also contains vitamins. So it has enough vitamin A, so long as the mother has actually taken in good vitamin during pregnancy. And also has zinc and iron and all those other things we need for the baby. But it does not have vitamin D. It is a poor source of vitamin D. Vitamin D is the one which makes the bones strong. So when we don't have enough vitamin D, babies get rickets, the bow legs. And so if the child is breastfed only and not, so the issue of vitamin E is an issue. But it's not an issue for us, because vitamin D is made by when the sunlight comes into contact with the skin, we make vitamin D. So we avoid vitamin D deficiency by exposing the baby out in the sunlight. Not the sun through the window, no. It has got to be direct sunlight. And not the sun under the umbrella, is direct sunlight. When the baby is well exposed, not heavily clothed, so that the sunlight can act on the skin and manufacture vitamin D. And this usually should be started by the time a baby is 1 month old. Should have regular, every day, being exposed to the sun about 30 minutes in the morning, and then maybe later on at about 10 or 4 o'clock again to the sun. 10 o'clock sun is the best. 10 o'clock in the morning is very good because it has the rays we are talking about for 30 minutes and then later on. So it's 1 hour per day, but doesn't have to be continuously, so long as it's 1 hour. The midday sun is not very good because it's very hot. Yeah, so the babies should have a hood, the cap, and you just let the baby enjoy the sunlight. And but it's very unfortunate that even if you're in the tropics, we still get babies with rickets. And in fact, when we get these people who have winters, they always wonder, you are in tropics and you're getting babies with rickets? They think we are cheating. But you go to our wards, that's the thing. And now I'm talking to the mothers, and I'm sure there are mothers who are listening. Let's expose our babies to the sunlight. Mm-hmm. At 1 month age, baby is ready for that. The sunlight that will not cause pneumonia, but not exposing will cause rickets, and rickets will predispose the child to getting pneumonia. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
So we've talked of the benefits of breast milk to the child and to the mother. So what mothers produce the milk?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Ida. So there are 2 hormones which help the mother produce the milk. And these are chemicals which are produced in the brain. And what triggers the production of those 2 chemicals is the baby nursing on the breast. So as the baby nurses on the breast, signals are sent to the brain, the mother's brain, and they produce 2 substances, 2 hormones. So one of them is for the milk formation, and the other one is for releasing the milk. So as the baby breastfeeds, the signal is sent to the brain, produces that hormone for helping the mother form the milk, manufacture the milk. And the milk is stored now in this area, awaiting for the baby to breastfeed. Now we need a second hormone which helps the milk to move from the bags which Edith talked about, which are usually here, so that now the baby can get that milk through the nipple. So for that milk to be released from where it's stored in this light area, we need the hormone oxytocin. And that's the one which is, we talked about the love hormone. And this is also produced because of baby breastfeeding. So what we are actually saying is that what triggers the milk formation is baby nursing on the breast. And the more the baby breastfeeds, the more the hormone, especially the prolactin, will be formed. So that's why you find when mothers go to work, because they are not breastfeeding, so they are not being stimulated to produce that hormone, their milk just dries. And because their milk is drying, they give formula or cow milk, and therefore they are able to postpone a feed. And because they're giving other substitutes, then they are able to, they don't have to breastfeed, and they are not stimulated. And finally, the milk will just disappear. So when mothers go back to work, To maintain the milk flow and also to get milk for the baby, they should be expressing the breast milk and storing it. Most places now we do have where they can store. That way, expressing the breast milk and storing will actually make the mother milk production just continue even if she goes back to work. The other thing is that when the mother does not drain the breast, they are not storage tanks, they are not refrigerators. This milk has got to be drained. If it's not drained, it sends negative feedback to the brain, and the milk, there's no milk formed. So if the breasts are not emptied, they actually decrease the milk formation. The second hormone, so we have talked about the hormone for milk production. This is the one for letting the milk to the baby. It's also hindered by many things. It's also stimulated by nursing the baby, plus other things. Thinking about the baby, seeing a photo of the baby, imagining about the baby, you'll find the mother just becoming wet when she thinks she's going to breastfeed because of that letdown reflex, which is brought about by that hormone. But it's also hindered by many things, by pain, and also by stress. And you do find that sometimes we do also stress some of these mothers. You know, like a mother after delivery, sometimes we go the whole clan to visit a mother after delivery. And you know, it's a stressful period. And sometimes if there are many people who are coming and they're not going to the kitchen to help the mother, that stress can actually just make the milk just disappear just like that. So we should, even as for the husbands who are listening, let's make the mother comfortable. Let's, even as health workers, we keep the mother away from pain. If she has episiotomy and the other things, she's not stressed. Yeah.
Okay. So with the help of Professor Irimo, we've seen proper breastfeeding techniques. And for working moms and those with lots of breast milk, Edith is going to take us through proper expression techniques. For nothing goes to waste.
Thank you. Thank you, Aida. So sometimes the mother needs to express milk. And there are some reasons which can make a mother express milk. So when she wants to initiate lactation, especially for the babies who are admitted, initially it is important for her to express the milk. We call it to express the milk. Also to keep her milk supply going. You remember what Professor Irimo was talking about, that we need to keep emptying the breast so that more milk can be produced. So for that reason, it is important to express the milk so that we can keep the milk going. Sometimes the mother needs to go to work, and that means that your baby will continue having exclusive breastfeeding even when the breast is not there. So you express the milk, leave the milk, you go to work, and baby will continue having the breast milk. Also, sometimes you have engorged breasts, and the solution for that is empty the breast. So expression will come in. So what is the correct technique of doing this? So first, as always, you should always wash your hands. So you wash your hands under running water with soap. So you wash for 60 seconds. Make sure you cover all the areas. As I'm sure by now with the COVID, now we all know the technique. Make sure you cover all the areas because we don't want to cause any contamination to the milk which we are producing. So once the mother has washed the hands, the next thing is the containers. Which containers does she have? She needs to have the correct containers. Simple plastic containers are enough. The thing is they need to be clean and dry. So every time she uses them, wash them with soap and water, put them out to dry for the next time to use. Once she has her container is clean, her hands are clean, she's ready now to start. Now she can go to her breast. You remember Professor Irimo explaining things like we need to be able to stimulate the breast to produce the milk. So the first thing she's going to do, let's use our breast. Again, it's a dummy breast. So she's going to massage her breast. So she's going to all the way round like that. As she's doing this, she can think about her baby. She can look at her baby. All that is going to stimulate the letdown reflex. So once she has done the massaging all round, she's now going to hold the breast in the C grip that Professor Irimo talked about. So with the thumb on top, just above the areola, and the fingers below, she's going to hold her breast, and then she's going to push the breast back towards the chest wall. Press the thumb and supporting fingers together, and then release. Okay, so the technique is push back towards the chest wall. And why do we do that? So that we have the milk containers where we need them, and then she's going to press the thumb and supporting fingers together, and as she's pressing, the milk will flow into the container, and then she's going to release. So she's going to repeat that: push back towards the chest wall, press the thumb and supporting fingers together, and then release. And she's going to do this until the whole breast is empty. And you can tell when it is empty by simply feeling that it is soft, it is not as full as it was before. So the technique is push back towards the chest wall, press the thumb and fingers together, and then release. Push back towards the chest wall, press the thumb and fingers together, and then release. And then she's going to have her milk in a clean container. So there are several things she can do with this milk. She can feed the baby directly using a cup, and we prefer to use a cup, not a bottle. So you know the ones with a nip, we don't want, it's safer to use a cup because it's easier to clean. So you're going to get a tiny cup and you're going to use that. So this container you're going to use to feed the baby should always be clean. So we cannot overemphasize the need for hygiene when you're expressing milk. So there are some mothers who prefer to use a pump instead of the hand. So it is okay. The technique is the same. She needs to push back, then she's going to apply the vacuum, and then she's going to initiate the milk to come out. But she needs to push back the breast and then make sure the pump is attached on the temporary milk containers that we talked about. And then she's going to collect. If she's using a manual pump, she can do that. Or if she's using the electric one, she can put it on and then the milk will just come out. Okay? Now, what does she do if she's not feeding the baby immediately with the milk? She can store the milk. The milk can stay in room temperature, clean container covered for 4 to 8 hours, depending on the temperature. So for the places which are very hot, it can stay up to 4 hours. And when I say very hot, I mean above 25, 26 degrees and above. Then the ones which are below, then we can stay up to 8 hours. Then you can put it in, you see the cooler with ice packs. It can stay for 1 whole day. So you don't have to have a fridge. Yes, so mothers should not say, I don't have a fridge, so I'm not going to express milk. So you can stay in room temperature and you can express enough for the whole day, and your baby will have the milk until you come back from work. If you have a fridge, it can stay in the fridge 4 to 8 degrees for up to 4 days. Then if you have a fridge, the one where you open the door, it can stay up to 2 weeks. Then if you have the deep freezer, it can stay 6 months, even up to a year. So the key thing is to make sure you label every time you store, you label the date and the time that you express the milk, and then you'll be able to use it well. If you're going to use milk that has been frozen, you the night before, you put it in the fridge. If you had put it in the deep freezer, you remove it and put it in the fridge, you let it thaw. So you don't put it in a microwave or in hot water. you put it in the fridge, you let it thaw, and then now you take warm water between that 37 and 40 degrees, you put the container in the warm water, and then you feed the baby. So that milk cannot be put back into the freezer. You have to use it within 2 hours, and if it remains, then you have to discard. Okay, now we are going to talk about cup feeding. And like I had said earlier, we prefer to do cup feeding to bottle feeding. For hygiene reasons, the cup is safe to clean, and we actually advise you to use a cup. A simple plastic cup is enough. Yes, so how do we feed this baby? Once you have your milk, you're going to get your baby, and for the newborns, they don't have a neck control, so we need to support them. So the same way we were supporting during breastfeeding, you're going to put your thumb on one ear and then the other fingers on the other side. Sorry, I think my fingers are short. Yeah, so that way, as you can support the head and neck, and you're going to hold the baby in an almost 90 degrees, and then you're going to you take your milk, and then you're going to put the cup on the lower lip, and you're going to tilt it so that the milk is touching the lower lip. So what we want to do is, when you do that, the baby is going to be stimulated to lick the milk. So they will, like that. So you're going to tilt the cup as the baby is licking the milk. So you're not pouring the milk into the baby's mouth. You just put the cup on the lower lip of the baby, tilt the cup so that the milk is touching the baby's lips, and then the baby is going to lick. So they'll do this until all the milk is over. So your job will be to keep tilting the cup until all the baby is able to lick all the milk from the cup. So usually when the baby has had enough, they usually will shut their eyes and sleep, or they will stop licking. Then you'll know that they've had enough. Then you can stop. So you need to be careful not to pour the milk into the baby's mouth. Don't do that. And you're not going to if the baby has closed their eyes and they're sleeping, then you do not feed that baby. If they are sleeping, it means they are okay. Yes. And then also, you don't feed the baby when the baby is lying. The baby needs to be so that there is no risk of aspiration. Yes. And that is how you express, you store, and you use expressed breast milk. Yes.
So before we wind up, maybe you have a word to our audience, an advice, or just something that they can always remember as they breastfeed.
Yeah. Now, I don't know whether I can add something which I left out. That from what you have said is the frequency of breastfeeding that determines the amount of milk to be produced. It is not what the mother eats. It is not what the mother drinks. I know sometimes we drown ourselves in flasks of porridge, soup and everything else, and there's jahe, there's everything that you're being told you're eating for 2 babies. Now, what the mother eats during pregnancy, and that's why the mother needs to eat good diet during pregnancy, what the mother eats is stored in preparation of breastfeeding. That is why the mothers have fat pads. That's why they become round, because that fat is what they'll use for making energy for breastfeeding. They use a lot of energy when breastfeeding. Now the problem comes when one is not breastfeeding and you store the energy for breastfeeding, so the weight will not go. So you continue going round, getting round and round. So if you breastfeed very well, you find the mother just loses weight to the preconception weight quite easily. And you don't have to eat a lot when one is breastfeeding, because it's already stored. Just listen to your body. I tell people, listen to your body. When you want to drink, drink. When you want to eat, drink, eat. And you find that you add 1 or 2 extra feeds because the body is demanding that. You feel thirsty, so you drink, but you are not drowning yourself. You're not forcing yourself to eat. You're not forcing yourself to drink. Otherwise, if you do that, there will be excess fat, and we'll become quite obese. Yeah.
There are 2 things I'd like to tell moms. Number 1, today you have learned, or during this session you have learned about the initiation of breastfeeding. If you're pregnant, make sure when your baby is born that you immediately begin breastfeeding your baby. We are going to solve so many problems by initiating breastfeeding at birth. Immediately the baby has been born. And the second thing is for us to do exclusive breastfeeding. Your breast does not have to be there. Express the milk and let the baby be fed on the express breast milk. Yes, and that is my parting shot. Like that, as she's doing this, she can think of her baby. She can look at her baby.
Touch the upper lip with the nipple, and the baby will open the mouth. And when the baby has opened the mouth, I'll push the breast very fast and pull the baby towards me.
Push back towards the chest wall, press the thumb and fingers together, and then release.
Indeed, it has been an insightful conversation, and I hope that we all have learned a lot. I've been your host, Ida Munzat. Until next time, your health matters.